आप अपने मस्तिष्क पर हवा सुन रहे हैं। कार्यक्रम जल्दी शुरू होगा, आनंद लें।
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. And folks, when I need to go to Jerusalem and I need to kiss the wall, I'll wear the kippah. Understand, I'm only doing this to save my life. I'm no Jesuit, I'm no Jew, I'm no Jordanian, I'm no nasty J word. But if I don't do something pro-Israel soon, I think that Bill Maher will find me and kill me himself. He's gonna dry out my skin for another pair of pretty red shoes. Folks, I'm not in Peter Thiel's underground communications and summit group, but damn what I like to be. Damn what I like to be right now. But hey, I'm like some genetic mutt. I'm not loyal to any one group of people, race, religion, whatever. I don't believe myself to be a god on earth. I don't think Luciferianism is the way. Unfortunately, they do. So I think that's like the major bit of contention between me and them. That's like the one major thing that's like getting in our way of really, just being friends and whatnot. The best thing that I really have to offer the New World Order is like jokes. Jokes like I ran out of beer and the struggle is real. You know what I mean? Folks, I don't like JD Vance as much as the next guy, but supporters of Vance 2028, and I know that there's some of you out there, do you really, and this should hit home, do you really want an interfaith, interracial marriage to be in the White House? Think about it. You really want to have cows sleeping in your living rooms a couple years from now, sacred cows or whatever? You want to take up the practice of bathing in rivers up here, Americans. Yes, I understand American rivers are not as bad as India, but do you really want us to be rinsing off in that shit? 3M is filling your pores with chemical runoff from the Mississippi. They were actually asked about this problem on CBS News. Not 3M, JD Vance and his wife. And listen, let's take a look at these lovebirds' response, because honestly, is it easy living in a multiracial home? Is it easy living in a place of multi-faith where it's like, oh, you're Hindi, I'm something. What is he again?
An interfaith marriage.
I know he's Christian, but what does he claim to be?
How does it work in day-to-day life?
Well, it's actually very easy.
That wasn't funny. Why did he giggle?
I mean, one, there's a certain dynamism to it because she comes at things from a different perspective than I do, and so it always leads to very interesting conversations.
What?
Just practically what we've decided to do is raise the kids in the Christian church. We don't want to confuse little kids. Obviously, they can get confused.
Of course they can get confused. See, he's going, don't worry, guys, don't worry. We ain't leaving our kids' lives in the hands of Vishnu or Yama or some shit. We're raising them in the right faith.
We haven't hidden anything about her understanding of the world or her parents, how they think about religious faith. So we've just tried to make it as easy and accessible to the kids as possible while sending them to Christian schools and raising them in
the more I look at his face, the more that I just like kind of observe him. I know that white people all look alike, and that's just like a common thing with white faces in particular, especially like Erica Kirk. What race is she? Erica Kirk. It's the Scots people. Race and ethnicity. I've been looking up people's race and ethnicity a lot more because it does matter. After her parents' divorce, she was raised by her mother in Scottsdale, Arizona. One of her grandfathers was an immigrant from Sweden. I called it. She looks very Nordic. In an interview with Megyn Kelly, Kirk mentioned that her mother, Lori, said that her family had Lebanese, Italian background, and she was raised Catholic. But it's people that have this kind of like mutt white person face. You know what I mean? JD Vance and Erica Kirk. The more I look at them, and I know it's not racist. A lot of black people look very similar. A lot of Asians look very similar. Whites, a lot of them look very similar. A lot of Jews look very similar. It's not, we wouldn't have races. We wouldn't have like categories of how the faces turn out if these things weren't real observable facts of nature. It doesn't matter, it's whatever. JD Vance and Erica Kirk, I absolutely do believe that they were, if not, secret siblings raised in the Jesuit circles, I do believe for sure. And I know that he's evangelical, whatever you want to say, he's Jesuit trained, much like Donald Trump is. In the terms of like, I think they were developed in the same lab if they were not secret siblings.
Church. Our 6-year-old just got baptized a couple of weeks ago, actually, I guess.
Does he even know what that means? I thought evangelicals, they wait for the baptism because you have to choose to accept Christ. You have to elect to become a Christian. That's the whole point of Baptists. That's, all right, whatever. You're a really weird collection of fellas.
2 weeks ago, it was Easter Sunday. But one of the things that's also interesting about it is because I was raised Protestant, I was raised in a very evangelical tradition, and typically, for example, evangelicals, Protestants don't get baptized until they're a little bit older. That's been an interesting thing, too, because we've elected...
J.D. Vance publicly identifies as a Catholic. He was raised culturally Christian, later identified as Pentecostal, and ultimately converted to Roman Catholicism in 2019. All right, interesting.
It's almost like the fusion of Usha's perspective in my old evangelical upbringing. We don't baptize the kids when they're young. We let them make that decision when they're older. And
when they're 6? What?
So there are all of these interesting little ways in which...
It's interesting. You can decide what religion you want to belong to. You can't decide any sort of other thing about your... We understand that kids are not smart enough to decide whether or not they're trans. But yet, we're allowing children to decide whether or not they're going to dedicate their lives to either Vishnu, like in the Hindu traditions, or Jesus Christ. Do you think they're smart enough to figure out what their heart wants?
Affects the practice of my faith, I think, our relationship. But it's also just pretty easy, right? It's two people who love each other, two people who usually see...
She does not look at you with love. I'm sorry to say it. Usha looks like a cold bitch. I'm going to be real.
In very similar ways, but not always. And I think that's true for most marriages, and it's made it very fun.
When you hear all that, what's your reaction as just as not only
I hate my husband. I hate what his career has done to our lives.
Your own views of the world and faith.
I hate my
I grew
life.
up in this country around people of a range of Christian backgrounds and others as well. I had friends who were Baha'i, who were Muslim, who I grew up in Southern California, so there were lots of Mormons around as well.
Ugh.
So I think having people believe...
I will never say, listen, I love the Mormons. I've even met quite a few of them, and I've known some of them. They're some of the nicest people. That is an absolutely verifiable fact. It is because they're trained in this way. It's because they're like dogs. They are like these, little-minded things that, listen, they're willing to believe in Joseph Smith. They're willing to believe in anything. They're open-hearted, open-minded people. So inherently, they're going to be very gracious. They're going to be very giving. They're going to be just gentle. They're going to be all into therapy practices. They're going to be all into mental health talk. But then they're going to be like, well, where you can really learn about yourself is the Church of Latter-day Saints. That's what they're all about.
Fundamental things.
And also, whenever you meet a Mormon, they will tell you, oh, well, maybe if you like me so much, you should reevaluate what you think about the Mormon Church. Freaks.
We're not always perfectly aligned with the way that I think about the world. It's just very comfortable to me. And
Christians and Scientologists and Mormons and Islamists and the Jews, they are all in the same category. They are all, and even, I'm going to give this to the modern day atheists, they don't realize it's a religion, but it is in many contexts, as well as Western medicine. Western medicine is a religion of its own, where it has a creed. And also Western sciences, when it comes to NASA, when it comes to the space program, there are doctrines that are put out. There are certain things where it's we've told you this since you were born, that we have gone to the moon. We've told you this since you were born. You are not allowed to look into whether or not aluminum would burn up upon reentry. You're not allowed to look at the sciences. And if you start to ask questions about it, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a nut. You're someone who doesn't believe in the true sciences. If science is really true, it should be able to hold up to scrutiny. It should be able to hold up to, apparently, idiots asking questions.
that was true in so many aspects of our relationship from the get-go, not just religious ones, that it just is of a piece with our relationship. I'm fine with JD kind of having a different worldview at times.
She's
and having
seething.
to express mine and have us come to some kind of compromise or understanding. And that's part of what makes it all very interesting and part of, I think, what makes our family successful. Our children, I think, benefit from this back and forth.
Her family gives her shit for getting with a snow bunny. It 100%. It's verifiable. You know what else is verifiable, ladies and gentlemen? A new explosive investigation report from Wired.com has completely shattered this wall of secrecy surrounding this group known as Dialog. If you don't know about Dialog, this is a highly exclusive, invitation-only society of global elites co-founded by billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel. Now, for 2 decades, the hyper-secretive network operated in total silence in the shadows, bringing together senior U.S. politicians, Silicon Valley executives, celebrities, and top military commanders, CEOs, all of these people for secret summits off the record, entirely off the record. So if you really wanted a prime example of what a conspiracy theory is, and by the way, if you're still one of these people that dismisses the idea of conspiracies, dismisses the idea that people are pulling the strings, dismisses the idea, and more so goes along the idea of, well, I just think it's it's corporate greed. I just think that it's like man's need to like conquer, and like they'll always go into this weird philosophical thing, but they'll always go, well, I just don't think that everybody would agree to that. It's just like crazy. A lot of it's Europeans, Nordic folks, Midwesterners. They're the types that bobble their heads around. They don't really think very much about how the evil minds of other people are. Listen, it is inherently good. It is good to assume that other people have good intentions. It's a good thing to assume that, oh, maybe this scientist who's producing a vaccine wants to produce a vaccine not to make money for himself or the vaccine company, or why are you able to trademark vaccines or whatever? Okay, whatever, I guess. People are able to make money off of it. I'm not going to look into the details of it, but like, who would be crazy enough to debut any sort of experiments on the wide populace with vaccines? That's crazy. They're the same people who fell for the Anthony Fauci shit. They're the same people who refuse to come to the forefront and say, well, the government is run by pedophiles. It's a fact of nature. These are the same people that dismiss a lot of things surrounding the Clintons. They're like, well, Hillary, no, this whole talk about Anthony Weiner's laptop, her killing children on a ping pong table, it's just too crazy. That's the same types of people that have been making excuses for the New World Order, that have been covering up the facts that Jesuits, Jews are all working together in order to create a brand new world order. All of these sorts of people, they're going to look at this story about Dialog, this Peter Thiel, big network of celebrity CEOs and all of these big military commanders types, and they are going to say, well, maybe they're just like talking. Maybe it's like the World Economic Forum. Maybe their intentions aren't all that bad. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, let's cover whether or not you think their motives are bad. The group's closely guarded anonymity was imploded, essentially. It fell apart after the massive data leak exposed the internal directory and participant profiles of its members right out in the open. The security breach, first discovered by a Swiss hacktivist and verified by Wired, has unmasked the staggering roster of powerful figures slated to attend Dialog's upcoming closed-door retreat near Dublin, Ireland in August. Okay. Among the 222 named registrants are high-level political and military decision-makers. This includes Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and General Alexis Grenkiewicz, the NATO's supreme allied commander in Europe. Crucially, though, the leaks verify that none of the public officials used official government email addresses to sign up, opting instead for personal or corporate accounts to intentionally keep their attendance shielded from federal public record laws. And listen, I've given a full list of all of their attendees that has been leaked online. Guests and invitees, attendees, all of it. It's at the top of the description, this list that we've gotten. Does anyone remember a few months back in February, a celebrity by the name of Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in front of Congress trying to campaign for the repealing of Section 230. Section 230. 1996 U.S. law protects the internet intermediaries from the civil liability for third-party content. Basically, it grants them freedom to moderate their platforms, ensuring that the speaker, not the host or the website, is held responsible for illegal or defamatory statements. So, essentially, he wants to take back this law, opening up companies to lawsuits for things hosted on their platforms. As it turns out, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was revealed to be a part of this group and working with Peter Thiel's secret society, and as a matter of fact, this section, Section 230, repealing it, is a part of Project 2025. And suddenly, major liberal Democrat Joseph Gordon-Levitt is advocating for the reduction of your freedom of speech on these platforms. Interesting, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost as though these divisions are created falsely in order to prop up the ideas of right versus left, while also proceeding to get nothing done and rape and pillage the population. It's crazy. Isn't it crazy that might be the truth? Cory Booker is a part of this group. Ted Cruz, Elon Musk, Wes Moore, Scooter Braun, Dan Driscoll, Tim Ferriss, Adam D'Angelo, the founder of Quora, Reid Hoffman, Severin Hacker, that's the CEO of Duolingo, Ezra Klein, Brent Stevens, Brett, not Brent, at the New York Times, Brian Johnson, the longevity guy who's trying to live forever, John Levin, president of Stanford, Jared Polis, governor of Colorado, Scott Bessent, secretary of the Treasury, Larry Summers, former secretary of the Treasury, Jared Kushner, of course. Folks, Right and left are not real. They're tools that are made to convince you that these people are on opposite teams and they just want what's best for you. Repealing Section 230 is, listen, it doesn't matter if Project 2025, doesn't matter if it's right or if it's left, they'll do it if they think it benefits them financially. Guys, this is all fake. It's all a big show. When you look at behind the scenes, all these actors are buddies. AOC is good friends with a lot of people across the aisle, and all of them, they're as good of buddies as coworkers can be. They're all putting on a play for us. Quit thinking blue no matter who or red or dead is going to get either of your sides anywhere. Your sides aren't even real. You're a dumbass for saying, I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm a conservative Republican. You're a fucking retard is what you are. They're working with the other side that you and them supposedly hate behind the scenes. The two of them are in the deepest of cahoots. You want to know one of the most major people supporting Joseph's plea and plan? Lindsey Graham. Every Congress man and woman, whatever, because there's men and women in this, that is backing the appeal to destroy the facet of free speech right here. They're all funded by Israel. You can look it up for yourself. AIPAC has donated to every single one of them, which is also interesting. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, along with other celebrities like Amy Poehler, Gillian Anderson, she's from The Crown and whatnot. She played Margaret Thatcher. Scott Galloway, LL Cool J, Stephen Bartlett, and tech giants like Google, Meta, Intel, Amazon, Siemens, and Stripe Inc. They all pulled out of an annual tech conference Web Summit following tweets by the event's CEO Patty Cosgrave, where she had said that the government of Israel was guilty of war crimes in Gaza after October 7th, which is true. But Joey here, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Miss, Parks and Rec or whatever, all these other cunts, they got the big Jewy hand on their shoulder that led them all to reconsider their attendance. I also want to say, Joseph Gordon-Levitt claims to be one of these artist first types. He started the hit record bullshit, hating on AI and all that junk, but his wife, Tasha McCulley, has been an OpenAI board member around 2023. She was one of the folks that tried to axe Sam Altman from the company. Obviously, it didn't work. None of this is remotely surprising, though, ladies and gentlemen. When you look into it, Joseph is proudly 100% Ashkenazi Jew. Listen, it's like the Christians, it's like the Jedi, it's like these evil cultist groups, they're all the same. The Jews are no different. They get these kids when they're young. They say that 5 is too old for Jedi training. And the Christians are the same, the Jews are the same, the Muslims are the same. They want to get into kids' heads when they're young. They make them mindless servants to the order that the kids don't even understand. They just serve the order, and they serve out their purpose, and that they think they developed themselves. And the Jews, the Jesuits, all of them do mind control. MK Ultra trauma-based mind control, sexual abuse tactics. That's why everybody goes public with it and nobody's listened to. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's an open secret that the Catholic Church does these mind control habits on everybody. And Joseph here has been in this business since he was a young jit. I know. I loved Third Rock from the Sun. The only reason French Stewart wasn't in any of these chats is probably because I don't think anybody really knows where he is. After Home Alone 4, he kind of disappeared. Even if they wanted to invite him, they couldn't find him. But folks, whether or not you're proud 100% Ashkenazi Jew or you're proud 100% Catholic, you serve the New World Order, and nobody should be taking any words or wisdom from your corrupted Luciferian heads. Joseph's all like, "What? Why do you want there to be an internet that's free and open? Don't you hate when anyone can say anything on Twitter? Don't you hate when people have opinions different than yours? Protect the children. Also trans the children when they're like 10, so when they don't even know what sex is. Protect the tranny kids." Now we're getting into Pedro Pascal territory. And beyond exposing the high-profile attendee list, the leaked files pulled back the curtain on this bizarre and unsettling topic that they're discussing. Listen, there's so many topics that they are having at these closed-door places. Dialog, the Society's official agenda, features off-the-record breakout sessions with titles ranging from Navigating World War III, Battlefield Technologies, Bring Back Nuclear, Build a Cult. More talks include How's Your Sex Life, and Money Does Buy Happiness. The data trove also exposed highly sensitive personal data that members were explicitly promised would remain private, which is great. I love that, including the recorded political leanings of participants and information from specialized matchmaking features designed to run a private dating network for the group's exceptional people. What the fuck? The blockbuster exposure of the Dialog has immediately triggered a scrutiny on Capitol Hill, drawing a lot of harsh comparisons to the infamous Bilderberg Group. And if you don't know about the Bilderberg Group, I guess I can go through it quick. The Bilderberg meetings, or the club also, they're an elite invite-only, similar kind of form, established in 1954, 1954, to foster dialogue between Europe and North America. They essentially were the ones that organized, and really they were at the center, them and the breakaway government of NASA. They were the ones that were key in making sure that the British Empire didn't fully collapse after the Suez Crisis in 1953. They said, well, okay, our economic power, and by the way, the Suez Crisis of 1953, look into it more, because it is directly paralleling this crisis that we're having with the Strait of Hormuz, and it's not even that far away. So the British Empire fell apart after that. They realized that their soft power was useless, their hard power was even more useless, and this was just an embarrassment. Their economy fell apart afterwards. The British Empire essentially collapsed. And the 1960s, you get all the Beatles, and everybody thinks that that's really the time when the UK was rocking. Really, the UK was rocking when they actually had factories, they had jobs, they had people that were, living pretty decent lives. It's not when everybody had mod haircuts and was dancing and having free sex all over each other like Austin Powers. It was like the time when people were proud to be Brits was when, the banks were solid, when they knew that their money carried meaning overseas. And now, unfortunately, after the Suez Crisis, they needed somewhere to move this empire. They needed this global elite force. They eventually organized the idea that NASA would help the breakaway government move its headquarters on over to the United States. There would become the major organizing power behind, it's obvious that the British Navy is not the one ensuring the free and open trade of the seas. It's the United States now. And unfortunately, it's going to be shifting to China. It's going to be shifting to Iran. It's going to be shifting to Russia because of the Arctic Circle. Really, what you're going to see here is less so the American dollar guaranteeing the waterways. It's more so every person or every empire is going to try to expand out as much as they can to cover as much territory as they can. And even these little nations that you never thought were going to be major players, like Iran, the 34th largest economy in the world, even these countries will now say, we're not being ignored. And if you ignore us, we're going to shut down your trade, and we're going to affect 34% of the world economy, especially when it relates to crude oil. Okay. The conference brings together about 130 to 150 influential political figures, industry executives, and experts to discuss major geopolitical and economic issues and fierce debates over over democratic accountability. Critics are arguing that allowing the tech industry's most powerful data and surveillance architects to hold unmonitored private strategy sessions and sitting with lawmakers, military commanders, undermines essential public oversight. Peter Thiel's representatives and the named participants have maintained a strict, ironclad silence in the wake of the data dump. They're not going to be bringing any of this up. As a matter of fact, this is the story I'm going to be clipping in order to get it around as much as I can. The massive security slip-up, though, has ensured that one of Silicon Valley's most powerful shadow networks now has, we've had a glance at the internal workings of it, and now it's in the public spotlight. However, NBC News won't cover this. CBS will not cover this. The most you're going to hear about it is from little channels like mine, unfortunately, or on Instagram. It's going to, if you're going to be in the areas that I am, where it's like most people are just it's that one girl who swings the golf club and then lists a bunch of shit about bills that have come out this week. She's one of the main people that has been informing people about the car manufacturing after 2027, where it's going to have an interlock system that's going to read your eyes, detect whether or not you're intoxicated. She's she's doing some good. She's spreading the message, which I'm very happy about. Let's take a look. I want to take a break before we cover the fact that Zelensky has declared that Moscow will burn. I want to take a break, and I want to see this little beautiful Jew. I love him. I love him so much. It's weird to see Tommy from Third Rock from the Sun selling out to Peter Thiel in his older age. Let's see this.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I love that he said gentlemen, because he knows no women are in this room.
To talk about the Section
It's a bunch of executives and a bunch of lawmakers. There's no women.
230 Sunset Act. If you don't know and you're watching, Section 230, what it does is basically says that a platform on the internet can't be held liable for the content that it hosts.
Of course.
Which I realize sounds sort of technical and boring. So why did I come out here to Washington, D.C. to support this?
You need
first and
to
foremost,
sell tickets?
It's because I'm a dad,
I'm a dad.
as the senator said.
I'm a faggot.
I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
I'm going to get choked up.
A lot of people here today.
I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old. I would have had a 12-year-old, but I had to slay my firstborn in order to get into this Hollywood shit.
Parents whose kids
I have
shared a
kids.
couple stories that left me trying to keep myself together.
Keep myself
These
together.
photos remind me of my kids.
I mean, my
And,
kids.
The harm
The
that was
harm.
done to these kids online might have been prevented
Might.
if certain big tech companies knew that they could be sued. But under Section
What?
230, they cannot be.
So wait a minute, because you can't manage your child's online inflow. Okay, you get your kid an Instagram profile. Bad thing to do, by the way. Bad thing to do. If you get your kid a touchscreen in general, what are you doing? Get your kid a flip phone at the very most, and they don't even need it. Are we talking about like a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and however old you said your kid was? Why are you giving them technology? You're asking for him to get groomed.
So these amoral companies, they just...
Amoral company. By the way, anytime anybody says immoral or amoral or whatever, I'm like, don't try to pull morality on me, all right, Tommy Solomon. You are in no position to be lecturing anybody about moralities, okay? That's not your place.
keep allowing these awful things to happen on their platform, and they don't do anything about it because they will always prioritize profits.
They don't do
over
anything.
The public good.
Public
Even when it comes
good.
to kids.
This is like the social reckoning, the new thing that's coming out, where they're making another shame piece on Mark Zuckerberg, where essentially this is Jeremy Strong is going to be in it. He played Roy Cohen in The Apprentice, which I still think should have won an Oscar. That was a great performance. If you haven't seen The Apprentice, highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly. It's about our current president, so it matters. And Sebastian Stan plays him. He plays what is the guy? Who's the one who plays opposite of Captain America? The Winter Soldier, I don't know his name. Everybody knows his name. I don't know it. But him, Sebastian Stan, he plays Trump, and then Jeremy Strong plays Roy Cohen. It's a beautiful, incredible performance. And essentially what they're doing now is the social reckoning is coming out, and it's saying it's basically a shame piece to put Facebook on blast because parents don't know how to manage their children. They give their children Facebook, they give their children screens, and they give their children screen time because they don't want to raise their children. They'd rather their children make friends with some 30-year-old in a chat room. They don't want to sit down. Listen, you know what my family used to do instead of allowing me, my sister to go out and we would type on go to the chat rooms or whatever. Me and my sister weren't in chat rooms. Do you know what we were doing? We were playing Life, the board game. I'm not saying we were playing Life, getting high on Life, like one of these faggots, like the one girl from Freaks and Geeks. I'm getting high on Life. No, my mom and my stepdad were like, come on, let's play a board game or something. That just to spend time with your children. Spend time with your children. Take interest in their interests. It's not that hard. They are going to look for approval and attention from somebody. And if you don't give it to them, if you're no, I'm going to sit here and watch Love Island. If you don't put honestly, Jackbox Games is not that expensive. And if you really want your kid to have a fucking flat screen, only let the internet go to fucking Jackbox TV and then play that with your kids. You know what I mean? Just family. Family is the solution here. It's not saying, oh, my kid killed himself because he spent too much time on Instagram. It's because, you know what? Your son had these weird addictive habits where he was willing to invest himself in anything. And you know what? You didn't help him channel it. You didn't help him figure your things out. And I understand that you're just some parent. You don't know what you're doing. You just had this kid thrown on you because you had sex one day, and now you have to figure it out from there. I get it. That's how most of this shit works out. But I gotta tell you, if your kid is deeply upset because they're getting bullied on social media, because they're getting whatever, they're going on, and fucking talking to chat rooms of 20-year-old people, it's your fault. It's your fault for allowing your child the access to the internet in the first place. It's your fault, and you gotta take responsibility for it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, bring on the tears, buddy.
And beyond being a dad, there's nothing in the world I love more than my family, but I do have a certain kind of love for the internet.
Satan. I love the internet. I love Satan.
An online community called Hit Record. It's still very dear to me. So I understand what Section 230 did to bring about the birth of the internet. That was 30 years ago. And I also understand how the internet has changed since then. Because back then, message boards and other websites with user-generated content, they really were more like telephone carriers. They were neutral platforms.
Well, the reason that they're not neutral, if you don't like the fact that Facebook is integrating systems, they're like censoring certain things, blame the Biden administration. It's not that hard to, if you want to research the actual government influence over social media, it began with the Biden administration. And if you trace it back, you can go to Operation Mockingbird. The CIA has been involved with, not only the local media, the news, the press, major news outlets. They literally puppeteer all of these agencies to do whatever they want. Mark Zuckerberg is not a heavy Republican. He's not a heavy Democrat. He's wherever the wind blows. That's what he is.
Today, the internet is dominated by a small handful of these gigantic businesses that are not at all neutral, but instead algorithmically amplify whatever gets the most attention and maximizes ad revenue. And we know what happens when we let these engagement optimization algorithms be the lens that we see the world through. We get a mental health crisis, especially amongst young people. We get a rise...
Because young people are retarded, and their families give them phones way too damn early.
Extremism and a rise in conspiracy theories. And then, of course...
Because conspiracy theories are correct. This is exactly where it boils down to. He doesn't want you to be able to share your ideas openly. Because he doesn't think they're your ideas. He thinks you've been corrupted by this force that is beyond anybody's way of identifying you. We can't really tell. We can't put a name on it, but it's anti-Semitism. You have been corrupted. These words are not yours. You are a puppet of Hitler from beyond the grave. That is, at least according to most people, if you have any sort of leanings or ideas that are outside of the mainstream, if you think that maybe the Jesuits and the Jews are up to some shit, they want your account deleted.
We get these echo chambers. These algorithms, they amplify.
An echo chamber you elect to stand in. Wait a minute. Are we blaming the places where echo chambers are created or the people who are standing in them? That is just, it's up to you whether or not you want to listen to an opinion. If you don't want to, scroll. That's you.
The demonization of the other side so badly that
there is no other side. You literally prove the conspiracy that the right and the left are non-existent. Whatever, it doesn't matter. If you want to hear more of his, not her, he might be trans. I don't know. He had the long hair in the first few seasons of Third Rock from the Sun. Holy God, am I starting a theory that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is trans? Wait a minute. I've seen The Night Before. I've seen many of his films. I've seen The Dark Knight Rises. He has a rather feminine build. I have to stop right now. I have to stop because it's gonna turn into Brigitte Macron, where we all know that the First Lady of France is a man. We all know it, and if you don't know it yet, you should just look into it like a little bit. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know where to go. Joseph, if you think this is the right move to line your pockets, great. Can you put in a good word? I'd love to join. I'd love to. Listen, I'm not going to be cutting my hand open. I'm not going to be slaying any children, but I'll just show up for the shrimp cocktail. I'm just going to be honest. That sounds like it's a fun get together. It sounds like it's a hangout. All right, whatever. Let's talk about our next story, about how Zelensky has declared war. He is like, fuck peace. We're not going to chase it anymore. We need money. Give us more money. Moscow is going to burn. In Eastern Europe, the volatile, deeply aggressive war we've been tracking right now has a new flashpoint. The Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, issued a direct warning to the Kremlin following a massive, unprecedented drone assault on the Russian capital. Speaking in a raw voice message sent directly to the international reporters on Thursday, Zelensky broke with his typical diplomatic tone, boldly declaring that if Ukraine is forced to burn under Russian missiles, quote, your Moscow will burn too. The explosive rhetoric marks one of the most severe personal warnings leveled by the Ukrainian leader since the outbreak of the conflict, which has now gone on longer than World War I, which is interesting. A blistering verbal warning coincided with a historic multi-state wave of military action. Ukraine launched nearly 200 attack drones deep into the heart of Russian Federation overnight, blah, blah, blah. Despite Moscow boasting 3 sophisticated rings of anti-aircraft missile defenses, multiple long-range Ukrainian drones successfully penetrated the capital's heavily guarded airspace, striking the sprawling Moscow oil refinery for the second time this week. The high-impact raid ignited massive fires and sent towering plumes of thick black smoke billowing over over the city, effectively crippling a strategic energy facility that supports 40% of the fuel and 78% of the gasoline to enter Moscow's metropolitan region. Zelensky explicitly framed this cross-border blitz as a direct, fully justified attack of retaliation for a devastating Russian missile barrage earlier this week. The prior assault killed 10 civilians across Ukraine and inflicted severe tragic damage on the world-famous 1,000-year-old Kiev Lavra monastery. Whatever. It's all these Eastern European names. You always feel like you're talking to a witch or something like that. A priceless UNESCO, the World Heritage Site, deeply sacred to millions of Orthodox Christians, who cares? Standing on the global stage ahead of an emergency military defense meeting in Brussels, Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine never wanted this conflict. You're not acting like it, but warned that if Russian President Vladimir Putin, it doesn't help when they're both first named Vladimir. I don't like it. Vladimir Putin refuses to engage in meaningful peace negotiations. Kiev will utilize its expanding domestic drone arsenal to aggressively strip away the Kremlin's sense of domestic security. That's not a great, maybe the tyrannical little dictator of Ukraine needs to be taught a lesson. And I'm saying that I know people love to compare Putin to Hitler in this instance. I know many people are all about it. People that know nothing about the history of the Kievan Rus. Hey, am I saying that it was right of them to go in? No, of course not. I'm not saying that it's right for any country to invade any other sovereign country. But the NATO pushing up against its southern border was something that we agreed to a long time ago. You were really putting Russia in an uncomfortable position via their national security. Whatever. You can talk about all the origins for the Ukraine conflict. It doesn't matter.
Breaking for you overnight, Ukraine launched one of its biggest drone attacks on Russia since Moscow's full-scale invasion.
And no one should be celebrating this. By the way, even if you're an American, if you're like whatever, and you're going, yeah, Ukraine. I know Mark Cuban is sitting there going, yeah, my ancestors will not be, or like my descendants, relatives? What do you call, I don't know. My native population is, because he's half Ukrainian, whatever. He's like, we will not be stomped on. We will not be defeated. All right, sure, whatever, Mark Cuban, that's great. The breadbasket of Europe needs to be tackled, maybe.
More than 4 years ago. Take a look at this. Ukrainian drones struck an oil refinery in the Russian capital. Flights were temporarily suspended at all major Moscow airports. Let's bring in CBS News international reporter Aiden Stretch. He follows developments.
Aiden Stretch. These are made-up names. These are not real.
These attacks, the footage is quite dramatic.
Aiden Stretch. Give us the Stretch.
Good morning, Errol. So last night was Ukraine's largest attacks on Moscow of the war. The mayor of Moscow said that Russia's military intercepted 194 Ukrainian drones aimed for the city. But you could clearly see on social media posts posted by Russian civilians in the area, at least 2 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones getting through the air defenses and hitting an oil refinery in the area. As to the question of why these attacks are happening right now, Ukraine has long made these deep strikes into Russia a priority. In 2024, there are about 110 launches of these long-range strike drones into Russia. Fast forward to where we are today, there's now been more than 7,000. So that's really a testament to how quickly Ukraine can manufacture these long-range weapons now, and last night was the latest example of what they can do.
It's just remarkable because as they hit that oil refinery, the roof of one of the containers seems to fly through the air and into the smoke, making those pictures so dramatic. But what's the overall impact these Ukrainian strikes are having on Russia and its ability, its drive to continue the...
On a moral level, it could go either way for me. I don't care. You can't pay me enough to care. You cannot pay me enough to care about this. When it comes to whether or not Ukraine has this, they're going to lose the Donbass region, they're going to lose, Luhansk, Donetsk, whatever. Cool, I guess. I don't care. I really don't care. You can't pay me enough to care. Whether or not Russia claims half of Ukraine, claim all of it for all I give a shit. I'm not telling Russia they have permission to do it. I'm saying it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me, and you can't force me to care. You can't force me to care when Governor Walz's approval rating is dropping below President Trump's in Minnesota, a new poll shows. You can't get me to care because my country is so much more interesting. I'm sorry to say it. Little figures like fucking Tim Walz, they are more interesting than Vladimir Zelensky could ever hope to be. Is Vladimir Zelensky a Maoist in the modern day? No, he's not. He might be. I don't know. I don't know what you really can't tell what Vladimir Zelensky believes in his heart because he's this comedic type figure. He was on basically the Ukraine's version of SNL, and then he played the president on TV. This is not a joke. It's true. Governor Walz, your approval rating, it's in the shitter. The rapid fire section of today's headlines begins.
Focus on some recent polling we've done with the Star Tribune. If you thought President Trump is less popular in Minnesota than Governor Tim Walz right now, what I'm about to tell you might surprise you. The new Star
It's not
Tribune
shocking.
11 poll finds Tim Walz's approval rating has slipped below President Trump's among Minnesota voters.
Good.
And one issue appears to be driving all of that frustration. Here's Audrey Russo.
Governor Tim Walz has a lower approval rating than President Donald Trump
Makes
among
sense.
Minnesota voters. According to a KARE 11 Star Tribune Harvard School of Journalism poll, just 39% of respondents endorse Walz's second term.
The election's going to come down to the swing vote.
Political scientist Larry Jacobs says there's one issue in particular where Walz's job performance has left a scar on his own party.
On the issue of fraud, the independents are siding with Republicans. They trust them more.
Trust them more to fix fraud by 45%, compared to the 38% who trust Democrats to get the job.
They're all dumb because nobody, I'm going to be honest with you, no matter what party they belong to, they don't agree with the fraud. That's because they want to steal that money. They don't want it to go to the actual purposes that it could be going to. They want to cut taxes for that reason. They want to cut benefits for people. They want all that money to be kept for themselves and the war chest so that they can begin wars abroad. They can, all of this sort of junk, spreading democracy and whatnot. They're going to enter the new Marco Rubioism era of America. It doesn't matter where we're going to try to reconstitute our image as the American empire. It's not going to work. We're going to fail to reconstitute the power that the dollar originally had, especially in the oil trade. It doesn't matter.
I feel the Democrats aren't doing much about it. They kind of slap someone's hands and whatever, but they're not making a big deal out of it.
Yeah, we should.
It's true.
We should have systems in place. That's a problem.
Is fraud a kitchen table issue?
Fraud is not a kitchen table issue. Fraud is certainly an aggravation, but it may not have the bite, the prominence, the salience to actually move voters come November.
Other big issues on the voters' minds: gun control. A debate reignited by the Annunciation shooting.
All children have the right to live, free from gun violence.
53% of respondents support an assault weapons ban.
Ugh.
When you look at the geography, you'll see overwhelming enthusiasm in the urban core and a tighter split everywhere else.
So what else did we learn in that poll today? The new Minnesota state flag is not being embraced with open arms by Minnesotans.
Because it's ugly. It's ugly. It's not the fact that it looks Somali, which they don't. The people who say that it looks like the Somali flag, they refuse to acknowledge that the star is different. Yes, the shade of blue is pretty close, except for the K shape. The K shape is not even bad. Just keep that K shape. But then you had a tricolor design where there was green for our prairies, there was white for our snow, and there was blue for the lakes. Do that design. That design was 10 times better, and you're not being accused of loving the Somalis more than your own people like you seemingly do.
Third of likely voters we polled approve of the new flag. Half of the people we talked to didn't like it at all. And when you dig into this one by party, you find that 90% of Republicans do not want the new flag. On the Democrat side, the flag still wasn't altogether popular.
Because it's not
30%
fun.
of Democrats aren't sure about it. 16% do not approve of it. More than half of independents asked, they don't like it. That's an abrupt finding to butt up against the process of how the flag decision was done. A Democratic-controlled legislature created a commission to redesign the flag 3 years ago, and it was that commission that welcomed in a new flag. It was never brought to the people for a truly democratic up or down vote to replace it.
So I think we should just reshuffle. That's all we can do. Why not? It's an ugly design. Nobody really likes it except for the Tim Walz administration and the people who support it. It's weird, it's bizarre, and it's not a flag that people can unite under. And I understand that no matter what flag you put out, there's going to be people who are unhappy with it. I think it's particularly ugly, and also if you've gone past any police station If you've gone past any courthouse lately, this new color, it sun bleaches so much faster. All of these flags are getting white tinted after being up for like 2 months. It's ridiculous.
For more on this poll and what you think of data centers in our state, we'll talk about that when I come back.
Okay, talk to you soon, Kara Levin. What's your name? I don't care. It does not matter. Ladies and gentlemen, who is next for Minnesota? I predict, if it's not going to be Jesse Ventura emerging from whatever cave he's been hiding away in, I love him. He's a great guy. He's, he's honest about the Plum Island shit. He seems like a guy. He's a little too caught up in the fagginess of, like, biker gangs and whatnot. I'm sorry. Biker gangs are, like, a bunch of fags. It is all the Hells Angels faggots. I'm sorry. And I understand. They might not like that. They might not like that truth bomb, but it's not my fault. I can't do anything about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's not going to be Jesse Ventura, interesting biker gentleman that he is, it's going to unfortunately be probably Amy Klobuchar, because she has the star power, she has the name recognition, you know what I mean? Her ties to secret societies, though, I would love people to investigate further. Penny Flanagan, she is the lieutenant governor. She is trying to make a name for herself, and with videos that are only tracking with about 499 likes, 64 comments, and 18 shares, girl, your traction is just not there. You don't have the pizzazz factor. If you don't believe me, let's look at one of these ads. This was filmed literally like miles from my house.
Everybody, we're at my favorite Dairy Queen in Minnesota.
Oh yeah?
The Dairy Queen in Moorhead, where they hand dip their deli bars.
Oh yeah?
The thing that I am most excited about is that they have butterscotch dip cones. Butterscotch, you can't find it at every DQ, but you can find it here. There it is.
Look at your nice done nails. Look at her. She definitely just paid for a manicure with that beautiful... I love the camo hat that clearly looks like she just bought it for this video. Looks not worn whatsoever.
I'm going to enjoy this. Happy summer. It's time for DQ. Yeah.
It's time for DQ. This is so awkward and uncomfortable. Peggy, what are you doing? If you want to be the next governor of Minnesota, you gotta drop this goofy shit. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know if you're okay. I'm sorry. We need to revitalize your image, especially if you want to go anywhere in the future of governing Minnesota. Minnesota's already a mess. The Minneapolis City Council Committee passed a change to an ordinance that banned bathhouses and sex venues. They're now moving the repeal to a full council vote. So, before you know it, you will be able to get jobs at these bathhouses. You're going to be the one who has to go in there with a hose and just spray down it's going to be loads. I'm sorry to say it. Especially at bathhouses, it's a lot of men who, they're working out. Men are, obviously, as we all know, they're dogs. They will fuck anything that moves. And a lot of these bathhouses, they were, super spreaders for AIDS, especially back in the day. And there's nothing homophobic about it. AIDS, chlamydia, all that shit. The clap, as they used to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not an anti-gay thing. This is an delinquent behavior thing. Like, going into a sauna is an enjoyable thing. I'm sure I love a good sauna. I grew up in saunas at a certain point. I remember pouring the water over the steamy, what are the rocks that sit in? Exactly. I've done it a few times in my life. Everybody enjoys it. But you know what I never thought when I was in that sweat room? I never thought I would like for this to be a sex venue. I would love for this to be a spot where anybody can hook up if they want. Nobody wants this.
The Minneapolis City Council taking more steps to repeal a decades-old ban on bathhouses and sex venues. Today,
who does this benefit? Except for the casual sex community, which is admittedly degenerates. It's degenerates.
The city's Public Health, Safety, and Equity Committee passed an amendment to the ordinance that banned the businesses. Back in 1988, the council passed the ban at the height of the AIDS epidemic. But today, advocates say medical advances make it much easier to prevent the spread of HIV.
Just because we can't spread AIDS as easy. Or guess what? Actually, you remember when Wizard Dick, Magic Johnson, remember when he survived? Now everybody can do that. Everybody can live. You know what I mean? It's funny. The one guy who survived AIDS, his name is Magic Johnson. That's hilarious.
Opponents say the repeal ensures sex venues can be properly regulated while removing policies that target LGBTQ plus communities.
So wait a minute. The LGBTQ plus community is just a bunch of sex-addicted trauma relivers? I wasn't going to say it out loud, but apparently that's what you're telling me. Apparently that's what you're telling me, is that the community of gay people, they can't manage to go on dates like normal people. They can't manage to just, go meet somebody and whatever. No, they have to fuck that night. There is no such thing as a connection in the gay community without sex.
For me, this is such a great opportunity to really have an easy layup.
What?
During Pride Month, of all things, to say that we're going to stand with our communities and we're going to put our policy where our mouths and our commitments are. There's not going to be a bathhouse on every block. I think that is the narrative that is being...
That's not the narrative. The narrative is that people are going to be having sex venues out of these bathhouses, that people are going to just be going here to fuck. And that is not only bad for them, it's bad for their society. A society of casual sex is one that degrades itself. It's one that degrades the meaning of sex, the treasurability of it. It's one that just sort of, it's go day to day, live for yourself, don't live for the future. It's a very self-centered mentality. It's not good for society at large.
Maybe here that, like, you get a bathhouse, you get a bathhouse, you get a bathhouse, right? Like, everywhere. Because that is the fear that's happening in my community, too.
What?
The city leader is saying any changes will not automatically legalize venues like bathhouses, but would lay the groundwork for regulations to allow them in the future. The full council set to vote on the changes June 26th.
June 26th, we will know whether or not, sex venues available for apparently anybody, LGBTQ and whatnot, specifically LGBTQ. I don't know why we particularly view this community. We're like, it's Pride Month, you know what I mean? Be degenerates, have sex everywhere. There's no hole that you can't fit something in. That's the mentality of these fucking weirdos. It's so creepy. And every one of these people that was on the city council that was going, why would we ever stand in their way? They're all wide-eyed weirdos. These are sexual deviants behind the scenes. They are absolutely terrifying. These people, you wouldn't want to leave them alone with your children, these types of people. They're serving on the city council, these types. All right, whatever. Interestingly enough, keeping it local. Minnesota, another police department has closed. This is the 40th one in a decade, interestingly enough. They just can't find the officers. And do I even blame them? You can't kill the people like you used to be able to back in the day. Just shoot who you wanna, kill who you wanna, and go get a donut, and then just go, write a ticket, meet your quota by the end of the month. And then nowadays, it's like, oh, you shot somebody. Better hope that they weren't like one melanin tone a little bit less than you, or more than you, because now you're gonna be investigated. You're gonna go on leave. Ever since we got open to the idea that there are maniacal weirdos in the police force, whether or not they'll target you for your race or your sex, whether or not they're just out there to target you, we know that these people are out there now. Nobody wants to be a police officer because the whole appeal of it originally was like, oh, we can sleep in our cars, be Freemasons, and rape the community for its dollars while we effectively sit and do nothing. That was a lot of police officers' work back in the day. Now that's just kind of dying off, unfortunately.
Another Minnesota police department has closed, marking 40 now in the state alone. I'm Jennifer Hoff with KARE 11 News. Officials say the trend is happening mostly in rural areas. Just in the last decade, the latest one is in Black Duck, 4 hours north of the cities. Others that I've covered include down in Goodhue and up in Moose Lake. Experts say not only can departments not find officers to fill open positions, they also can't compete with wages and benefits from larger agencies closer to the metro.
The benefits are you get to shoot black kids in the metro, and maybe they'll give you some paid time off. You know what I mean? That, like, most of the time you're not going to be held accountable for shit. That's the Metro Police. They're like, hey, at least we pay you like a month while we look into this case and whether or not you shot this kid because he was black.
Beltrami County Sheriff is now planning to provide coverage there, but likely won't get a deputy to serve in Black Duck full-time until next year. Follow me for more news.
Well, if you are there, don't need the police, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, our final story. Why not cover the opening of the Obama Center? That sounds fun. Next episode, we're gonna get into a bunch of shit that's going on in the UK. A lot of people need to know about the rape gangs that have been confirmed. Unfortunately, it's thousands of victims. It's terrible. It's regrettable. And we also need to talk about the race riots. We need to talk about the arrest of Henry Nowak. All of this will be on Friday's episode. Thank you all so much for being here. In the meantime, let's talk about the Obama's opening of the presidential center. What's his name? The one who's dating Katy Perry. He did something back in the day, like, I don't know, I think he was like Prime Minister of Canada. Justin Trudeau, yes. He made he was attending this beautiful event where they're opening this disgusting, this looks like where the Flintstones would live if they were black. What is with this music? Fruit and vegetable garden.
South side of Chicago, the Obamas say the presidential center serves as a reminder of what's possible.
It's so ugly.
I mean, for me, growing up here, none of this was available to me as a child. To think that there are going to be kids like me, where this is their backyard, where people feel like they can just cross the street and gain access to the world. It's unbelievable.
So wait a minute, how far are you building from O Block? Because that's where you lived, O Block, all right? You know what I mean? Okay, south side of Chicago, interesting. They're giving what do the kids they can show up here and they can just, like, I don't know, do teen takeovers now at the Obama Center?
During our visit on campus, we got a first look of the interactive museum, which takes visitors from the founding of the United States, the defining movements and moments of the 20th century, through the Obama campaign and presidency. This is just the amount of letters he received in one day.
So this is like the George Bush Presidential Museum. It's just like, it's an altar to this guy, and that's it. It effectively doesn't serve a purpose. Or what are the kids supposed to do in here? Come and finger paint?
Wow. Even life in the White House, including a replica of the Oval Office. The BlackBerry, of course. President Obama says the campus was created with the youth in mind.
Hi! How's everybody doing?
Hi!
Your park, so you can play here anytime.
But the kids weren't the only ones who had some fun. This is fun stuff. What activity takes up most of your downtime? What activity takes up most of your
Have you noticed that this black reporter from what's it called? Good Morning America, Robin Roberts, she has this thing where she'll just she'll switch up, she'll code switch a little bit. She'll when she's around a black person, she'll lose her enunciation a little bit.
What activity takes up most of your downtime?
Downtime. Now, if she was in front of a white person, she'd go, "What activity takes up most of your downtime?" No, but here she's going, "What activity takes up most of your downtime?"
Fun. This is fun stuff.
Some fun stuff.
What activity takes up most of your downtime? What activity takes up most of your downtime? Yeah.
For him?
What do you?
First thing.
Yes, Michelle, for him. Not the one who was First Lady of America, becoming Michelle Obama. We know that book is about you becoming trans. It's cool, it's whatever, but yes, we're asking the President of the United States, not his chick. Yes, that is correct.
Comes to mind. Come on, no. I know.
Well,
okay, you answer.
Oh, she knows. It's golf. That's so white guy of you.
like that.
That's so white guy.
You know what? Move on. Go ahead.
Okay, so I answer her?
Was I wrong?
I was going to ask what you mean by downtime. Because I don't have that much downtime because I'm still in the middle of running.
And the majority of it goes to golf.
Yeah, right. Crochet? Still crochet?
I haven't been because I'm playing tennis a lot.
She's busy crocheting her hair as it is. You can see it.
Last show you binge watched. First thing.
What is this? What? I know that he's not the president. I know that we're just this is how people get after a person's been in office. It's let's not talk about the college student that you killed with a drone. Let's not talk about, how your administration persecuted whistleblowers. Let's not talk about any of that. Let's talk about, what's your favorite candy?
This is embarrassing to say, but it was Ken Burns' American Revolution.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry. I didn't.
Oh my God! Why are the women acting like it's boring? That literally Michelle Obama fake yawned. Why do women do that? I don't understand. It's Ken Burns. Do you not find history to be fascinating? Whatever.
Oh my God!
A binge watch where I just watched. It's terrific. I recommend it.
All of the women in this room are groaning. Why? Do you not like history? This is not reflective of all women. A lot of the women I know, they're interested in their niche little parts of history and whatnot. They like their books and whatnot. They're not like these people who are whatever. He just picks up a book and shit.
I just watched.
What, you trying to fucking learn and shit?
4 seasons
That's a good one.
Yeah, this is season 2.
All right. One word to describe your next chapter. One word.
Fun.
Bombastic.
Me.
Oh.
That's what you call drop the mic.
Drop the mic. What are you like? You never talk like this for any other interview.
You know what? You seem to be grading her answers. Every one of her answers, you're all like, oh yeah, you go, girl.
Because your answers are like, I just read about Lincoln again.
Because you don't. What? What? You'd rather men be interested in like what? The White Lotus? You don't want men learning about history?
Yeah, whatever.
You're hilarious.
I knew that was gonna hurt me.
Hey, you got to keep being you. Decades from now, when people are leaving the Obama Presidential Center, decades from now, what is your hope that they would have learned about the Obamas?
What I'm hoping is that
they take away the fact that I am as gay as the day is long. And me and Mike here, we are happier than any of you normies, any of you troglodytes, you pedestrians, all of you gross, lesser than people. Me and my beautiful trans husband here, we earned it all. And all of you are fucking nothing.
would see a couple of people who weren't born into fancy circumstances, but we're really lucky to have people who love them, and we're really lucky to be born into a country at a time when the essential creed of this country.
What is this pauses? Stop with the dramatic pauses. We get it. You're seasoned. You have the salt and pepper. It's mostly salt now with your hair, but your eyebrows are perfectly black. I don't know how that's managed to keep up. I don't get it.
Bad.
And this guy, he was just some rando from Illinois, excuse me. They're the same. They're pretty much the same state. They're like right on the border. There's some nobody from Illinois. And then essentially what happened was they saw him as the perfect launch. Fuck having a lady as president. They were terrified. The Freemasons were like, shit. Hillary Clinton is like one of our only main figures that we have for the Democratic nominee. Are we really going to have another 8 or 4 years of a Republican? And then this smooth talking, this gentle type, he's very, you know what I mean? He was a lawyer. Many people don't even know what he was up to before he showed up and was on the radar of many people. Nobody knows. Nobody knows his origin. And if you read his book, which I've listened to on Audible, he gives you fragments of the details. He does not tell you about the Freemason meetings. He doesn't tell you about how he was selected in order to push forward the narrative of, we're not the red states, we're not the blue states, we're the United States, and then proceeding to divide everybody on the basis of what is your religion, what's your sexuality, what's your culture, what is all this, are you black, are you white, they began the movement and sort of the normalization, especially on the left, of like, I am a black man I'm a black female speaking, and you need to listen to a black female.
That we're all worthy of dignity and respect and opportunity.
Of course.
That idea.
Oh my God, the music.
Oh my God, the music. Blossoming. And as a consequence, a little girl born on the south side of Chicago.
Born on the south side of Chicago.
Mixed kid, born in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in Hawaii, could end up being part of
the New World Order.
The process of
dividing people with race.
Building
and tearing down lives.
Making better.
Destroying the coal industry.
Most powerful, greatest country on earth.
Killing college students in the Middle East.
And that is our hope with the center. The Obama Presidential Center's
Lovely.
grand opening ceremony has a star-studded lineup scheduled to perform. We're talking about the boss, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, stop calling him the boss. Bruce Springsteen, the fruit.
Both of whom Mr. Obama awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and many more. And the public is eager to visit the center. Tickets, though, are sold out until November. Wow. Sold out.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want tickets, I don't know, book them early or some shit. Plan a trip to Chicago. This is the new Mecca. You know what I mean? This is the Kaaba. This is where all the Muslims, except it's going to be Democrats, they are going to pray around this cube. It's going to be a very, because the Republicans, they have Mar-a-Lago. They have, the golden statue of Donald Trump. They have all these altars, these idols that they love to worship. And now the Democrats have the Obama Center, and it's beautiful. It is a beautiful symbol of the harmony, the mimicry, and the fact that both of the parties, while they claim to represent you, honestly are both in the deepest of cahoots. They hate you and they want you to die. They want you to, if you're not serving a direct purpose to their transcendence of human form, you should go overdose on pain medication. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. I've had a wonderful time gathering these stories for you. I hope you've had an even more wonderful time listening to them. I will be back at it again Friday for our final show of the week. We will be back at it again after the weekend. I'll give you guys some time off so you can breathe a bit over all of this news, all of this information. I hope that you all have a wonderful Thursday night. I hope that you are there for Friday. If you'd like to be there, if you'd like notifications, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, like if you liked it, all that good stuff. In the meantime, I've been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening. I'll catch you tomorrow, and bye-bye.